Welcome to the Trading Sliders Podcast. Here we go, episode number 21 of the Trading Sliders Podcast. How's everybody doing today? I'm Bobby Puckett. Here with me in the studio today is Kurt the Flash Bennett. What's going on, Flash?
Not much, Bobby. How you doing?
Doing good. Guys, you guys tell us that you like the race-along shows. This is going to be one of those shows where we may not be paying a whole lot of attention because we have races on a couple TVs here, trying to keep up as I prepare to leave for Vegas. So we are doing this show on a Friday evening instead of Sunday. So Flash is going to have his eyes glued to the TV, and if you hear some pauses here and there, that's because something happened on the track.
Yep.
But this week's show, episode number 21, is being brought to you by Fubar Race Cars and Rods. That's myself. Quite frankly, because I didn't do my due diligence and get any sponsors this week. You always check out Walt at Speed Decals, and always check out Kentucky Clutch and Performance. They're always sponsoring and helping the show every which way they can. But it was a super busy week for me, so I figured if I was going to be in the garage 60 hours this week, I could at least plug myself a little bit. But this week's guest, because I always seem to forget, is Hanover, Indiana's Rocket Man, Joey Kramer, one of the top tier talent modified drivers over the last 30 years. Joey Kramer, fascinating character to say the least. A stand on it type guy.
He's like a race car driver.
Yeah, the man can drive the wheel, like literally drive the wheels off the race car. I've seen him do it multiple times. But yes, we made the trip up to Hanover and sat down with Joey Kramer. So that's this week's guest, our deep dive. People that are asking, yes, the old racetrack segment coming back. We'll be here next week. We have something special brewing for you guys. We have a good one coming up. On this week's show, we're going to get into Speedweeks closing, getting closer to the end. And speaking of getting closer to the end, Jake Tim just about ended his Speedweeks. Just about put her in the fence there. But Speedweeks coming closer to the end, and we're going to talk about that. And one thing I want to talk to you a little bit of Flash about is this? Are we racing too much? Because I don't know. My answer is always no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm seeing a lot of stuff posted about drivers, crews. I think they might. I think everybody. It's been hotter down there, so I think a lot of guys are. You're like, damn, maybe we're doing this too much. So we'll get into that, and this one's a really neat Flash. Racetrack lawsuits. We have a lawsuit with somebody pretty much in our area. We'll discuss that. And Jimmy Owens took a nasty crash, and we'll talk about some carnage in Speedweeks. And one last thing, RTJ is still doing RTJ things.
He ain't gonna stop doing that.
No, he ain't. And the big dogs in USAC are still the big dogs in USAC.
He's gonna try to run some micro sprints. He said he's got a month off, so he's got time to go play around some. So he's trying to find everything he can drive.
So guys, I'm just gonna let you know the old boys in the DuQuoin, Illinois area. He's probably coming your way for the DuQuoin Nationals there a couple nights.
I think he's getting some practice for next Chili Bowl too. Is what he's doing.
Well, I think he was highly disappointed in his Chili Bowl outing. And oh my God, what a B main. I thought Jimmy Owens was going home, but evidently Jimmy Owens was like, no, I'm going to stay down here and work on this. B main number 2 tonight, Drake Chapman, Tanner English, Jimmy Owens, Chris Madden,
Tyler
Erb, and Chase Younghounds, Dan Ebert. Well, I just know one thing. If Jimmy Owens has got any bad feelings, Ebert better get out and go. But no, Dan Ebert and Jimmy Owens coming together. And so we'll start with that. Jimmy Owens took a nasty crash. When I initially seen it, I thought I didn't think it was that hard of a crash because at full speed, it just looks like he smacked the inside wall and spun up the track.
Right.
But when they slow it down, man, when he hits the inside wall, the right rear folds up. So it was a hard hit there at Volusia on the front stretch. And what really sucks about that was Jimmy Owens' kind of crossbred car.
The one he'd been working on.
That's the one he was starting to figure out, and then he had it figured out until it wasn't. That's a terrible deal, but glad to see the O show okay, and just like all the guys that were in Speed Week fender benders, as we call them.
Oh, yeah.
There were some major crashes. Kayla, I can't ever pronounce her name. Kayla Laurel or
Yeah.
The young girl from Indiana took a nasty one.
Oh, yeah.
At
all the way
Ocala.
down the backstretch last night.
From the middle of the backstretch to going into
3 and 4.
3, 4, 7, 9, whatever turn that is, because there's plenty of turns there at Ocala. But she took a nasty one. So there's been some tore up equipment in Speedweeks for sure.
Oh yeah.
But what I wanted to talk about before we get into the actual Speedweeks things, we have a racetrack lawsuit that kind of pertains to us in our area. I don't want to spend too much time on this because, just like all lawsuits, they're hearsays. But supposedly, well, it's not supposedly, it's filed. There's an injunction filed. But Dave Allison, the guy that owns Lincoln Park Speedway, he filed a lawsuit against Joe and Jill Spiker, the previous promoters of Lincoln Park Speedway. Alleged that Spiker owes him $110,000 in cash on back payment stuff, and there were some missing vehicles, equipment, concession stand equipment, all kinds of stuff. So looks like Spiker and Allison didn't play nice on the way out.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I want to say about this. If Joe Spiker didn't pay some debt on the way out, shame on him. I don't know Joe Spiker that way to say, he did or he didn't. But I do know one thing as a race fan. Lincoln Park Speedway was in turmoil.
Yeah.
And Joe Spiker went in and single-handedly saved Lincoln Park, kept Bloomington afloat, and saved Paragon Speedway.
Yeah.
So if Joe Spiker does owe him this and did get in a bad spot, or I know Dave Allison he don't have the best reputation. So this could be all hearsay because he's upset that maybe that was this year's lease and he pulled out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know what Joe Spiker has done for sprint car racing and short track racing in Indiana alone, and so I'm gonna say he gets a pass on it.
Yeah.
If what's accused is true, well, you can't really call him a stand-up guy for that because, if you owe somebody, especially $110,000, and he took some equipment, but on the same token, he left every racetrack he was a part of better than way he found it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hate lawsuits and I hate that stuff, but that's just something we got to talk about because USAC is involved with Lincoln Park Speedway now, and USAC's going to run Lincoln Park, which is great because I think USAC sees the value in one of the best racetracks in the country.
Right.
B, 90% of their cars come from that area, so they need a place to race, and so and I'm really thankful that USAC is keeping the regionals, the regular schedule. I mean,
the regular shows.
Yeah, they're gonna run just like Lincoln Park always has. So hopefully this lawsuit doesn't do anything to hinder the track by any means. Hopefully they just get together.
Yeah.
Iron it out and the lawsuits. But that's something that I thought we had to bring up because it is going on.
Hopefully they didn't take whatever they used to cut the cushion in up there.
Yeah,
because we want to make sure we keep that.
Yeah, well, there's two things. Look, Joe, bro, if you took the grader that you cut the cushion in, or the Pac-Man looking vehicle that you made, please return those if you did. Just for the race fans in general.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't care at all what your beef is with Dave Allison at all. But make sure we have that in play. Speedweeks. Speedweeks closing to an end. Do these guys race too much, Flash?
I don't know. I mean, some of these guys were taking a couple nights off here and there because they're not. I guess it just depends on what series you're running, or if you don't have to go down there and run everything. If they're running, I think it's just because they want to. So,
well, that's what I'm saying because I've seen some late model drivers, and this is coming from the late model world. It's the sprint car drivers.
Yeah.
The mod driver. I haven't seen a whole lot from that, but the late model guys started their season earlier.
Yeah.
The late model guys, there's a lot of guys been down there for a month already.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so
and that does cost a lot of money, and you got to be away from home and.
Yeah. So I mean,
else.
it's guys like RTJ, he's not going to say he's racing too much. He's looking to pick up other races.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I can get where where guys were thinking, man, we've just been gone for so long, because a lot of guys, they went to the Wild West Shootout, so they've been on the road for even weeks.
Yeah, and there's probably, I'd say half the teams there, probably the guys that help them work on the cars, the pit crew members, they got regular jobs that they probably can't be there the whole time. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that probably makes it a little rough on them. I mean,
yeah, there's probably 25.
I'm sure they got flexible jobs, but they can't be as.
Well, there's probably 25 teams that have full-time guys on the road with them.
Yeah.
But still, there's still another 40 guys that's got to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, and thankfully for this year, the weather's been great down here, so they. I guess it'd really suck to be gone for a month and then the weather be bad.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But
no, that would be bad.
but yeah, so I don't. I'm of the objective. I don't think they race too much.
No.
I'm always for racing year round. Hell, I was a guy that when racing wasn't going on, I watched Sports Plus videos with just tapes. This is way back before you had YouTube and anything else. I still watched races every night of the week. I've got probably 10 years of all the Indiana Sprint Week DVD or tapes and DVDs.
Yeah.
So I'm watching racing year round, and I think that the guys at Flow and Dirt Vision, Race on Texas, XR, I think all those guys are like people do want this year round. I mean, that's just what they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys race for a living, and I don't want to sound like I'm in about it, but we go to work every day. Yeah. So, I mean, you got to go to work every day.
Yeah.
If that's the profession that you choose, I mean, you got to go to work every day.
Yeah. That's it.
So, yeah, I don't think they race too much. I think maybe they need to do a better job at scheduling stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I do know keeping the UMP modified drivers down there for 2 weeks is a little tough. Every one of those guys have real jobs.
Right, those are your real blue-collar guys.
Yeah, they're blue-collar racers. So I know a lot of guys in the late model world and the sprint car world. I know a lot of those guys are blue-collar. They work a job and race. I get that.
Yeah.
But the modified guys, it's not a lot. They all work a job to go race.
Yeah.
So maybe, keep it within a week. But I mean, who am I to say? Hell, they had 110 cars.
Yeah.
So I mean, they know more about it than I do. So there's no, who am I to say anything about that?
Right.
So
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But this week, talking about are they racing too much? Well, they still had 60 cars and they were still racing.
Yeah.
Thursday, the World of Outlaw late model race last night went to Garrett Albertson.
Yeah.
Garrett Albertson he's coming to his own.
Oh yeah.
Guys talking about what tour they're going to run. With his 2 wins on the World of Outlaws, he may want to pull off the Lucas tour and be like, hey, boys, I'm going to run with you guys this year.
Yeah.
Not like the competition's any less, but...
And I think maybe some of the World of Outlaw tracks would actually be better for him. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, they go out west a little bit more.
Yeah.
And, he's from out west. That's Wednesday, they had triple 20s, 3 features. And it's like the who's who of dirt late model racing when you look at the winners. Yeah. RTJ won again. I know we keep saying that, but he won again. Jonathan Davenport won again. And Brandon Overton did pick up his first win in the Longhorn House car. So
that was pretty cool seeing Brandon and his brother run second that night. So that was good.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Cody would get up there.
Yeah, I was hoping to get a little closer. A little more. Yeah.
But Cody knows where he stands.
But he came from Cody started about 12th, I think, or
yeah, I
maybe
think,
not that far back, but
I think
good ways back.
In the last 2 weeks since the Sunshine Nationals, I think Cody Overton's passed more cars at Volusia Raceway Park than anybody.
Yeah,
because
I think
he starts deep in every feature and he's always on the podium.
Yep, I think you're right.
And then Tuesday was all RTJ. It wasn't even close. He had like a 2.5 mile lead.
Yeah, he was gone.
They were still finishing up the race, and RTJ was over at Ormond Beach having a snow cone. I mean, he was checked out. And then Monday night in the fog event, Nick Hoffman took the win, and Jesus Christ, that reminded me of, years ago when I went to Volusia. They had the paved track on where the dirt track is now. They had the paved track, and then in the other turn was where the go-kart track is now, was where the dirt track was.
Right.
And I was there, and the fog started setting in so bad, and they were running the super modifieds. And the modifieds would go out there, and the vapor trails would come off the super modifieds. It would raise the fog up.
Yeah.
And when it raised the fog up, you could see the track. Well, they didn't have no super modifieds there Monday night. I mean, you could hardly even see the cars.
Yeah.
And one thing was funny, Chris Steffens said when he was announcing the races, he said, we're going to see how long we get this one in. We're going to go till we can't. And I think they told him over the receiver, hey, guys, the first flag that flies is going to end the race. I don't care if it's a caution or the checker. And they went 35 laps, caution free, just everybody ripping on the top through the fog. I was like, I have no idea how these cats are doing this.
The very first time I went down there is when they just built the first dirt track they had. It was on the other side.
On the other side, yeah.
And it was like, we actually got fogged out one night while we was down there. They couldn't even run because they had the dirt mods, but they didn't have nothing with no wings or nothing.
Yeah.
So they ended up not being able to.
So they couldn't raise the fog up.
But it had a bunch of guys with the modifieds that was from down like I guess they were from around Wisconsin or something, and they actually had the brake lights in the back window. You could actually see them, and I guess because they run somewhere where it was dusty or something. I
think it was was it Minnesota? Or,
I think it was like a Wissota.
Yeah. The Wissota mods. You used to have to run a brake light.
Okay.
On the roof, and then guys started trail braking and screwing people up. But it was actually considered a rookie light.
Oh, okay.
Because when the Wissota mods actually start, look at Bobby Pierce. Bobby Pierce is checking over Max Blair's tire.
Yeah.
Bobby Pierce is a cat that
He's checking.
He's kind of like the way I used to be, man. Like, I crawled underneath Victor Lee's car one night and measured his arms because I need to go faster.
Yeah.
About got my ass beat up by a whole crew, but hey, guess what? I still remember 17 and 5/8 on the right rear flash. It was 17 and 5/8 on Victor Lee's car down at the old Glasgow Speedway.
Yeah.
The old Barron County Speedway. I crawled underneath. I was getting my ass handed to me. I said, Toll Bridge was there, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna crawl underneath there and check it out. He goes, well, there it is.
Yeah.
I crawled underneath there. Victor's crew's ready to whoop my ass. I was like, well, Kerry told me I could. He's like, Kerry don't own this car. I said, well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, I forget that.
Yeah, I was like, well, I didn't know. 17 and 5/8, so man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Not like it mattered. I wasn't gonna run with him anyways.
Yeah.
Not that night, but next time we went back, I was pretty decent. So, USAC started their week off. These guys, I promise you this, USAC does not race too much. I wish they'd race every night of the week, every week. Love me some USAC sprint cars, but Kyle Cummins picked up the win Monday night at Volusia. The knock on Kyle Cummins for years has been, he's a bull ring specialist, which I don't know if that's a knock because that's the best style racing.
Oh, yeah.
But he is kind of a bull ring specialist. Kyle Cummins.
He put it on the big track, though.
And what's really funny is, these guys say, well, we don't pay attention to social media.
Yeah.
We don't pay attention to that. We don't read Facebook messages. First thing he says when he gets out of the car, how about that for a guy who can't win on a half mile?
Yeah.
I thought you didn't pay attention to that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't even think a sponsor. You didn't say, that's the first thing you said. I mean, they weren't even interviewing you yet. So, guys that say they don't pay attention to social media, well, no, I can't say that because there's a lot of time I don't look at shit. But for the most part, if you're racing and there's something negative being said about you, you're paying attention to it.
Yeah. Somebody's going to message you.
Somebody's going to send you a screenshot. Say, look what this asshole said.
Yeah.
For the assholes that's saying stuff. I mean, it gets around. You know?
Yeah.
So, somebody's going to send you a screenshot and says, oh, hold on. Also, the NXT bets.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Last year, I shouldn't as bad as I did on USAC, but if anybody from DraftKings is listening, I mean, can we get USAC, High Limit, World of Outlaws, can we get all that back on DraftKings?
Yeah.
Because NXT Bets is not on DraftKings this year. And here in Kentucky, I don't think any of them have been available in Indiana yet, but here in Kentucky, we were always able to get the DraftKings, the NXT Bets, but that's just a side note because I just seen a commercial. But I even tweeted them. I was like, bro, what the hell? We not on no more? You guys not want any more of my money? Because I'm sure some people, because last year's odds were crazy.
Yeah.
There's some, I mean, one night I made $500.
Yeah.
But there was also a lot of nights that I didn't.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of nights if I bet on you, I'm sorry, you had a bad night.
Yeah.
Kyle Cummins probably lost the championship because I bet on him like 3 nights in a row. Yeah. And I told Ricky Lewis, I mean, you owe me like $500, dude.
Yeah.
Because I knew you was going to have a breakout, and the only thing you broke was parts.
Yeah.
But, you know, get back to USAC because we jump off topic. Saturday, shit. It always feels like Saturday.
Yeah.
Tuesday at Volusia, Logan Seavey took the win. I thought Seavey was going to run better Monday, started on the pole, but he faded. But Logan Seavey took the win. And then as we move over to Ocala, and as people say, it's a racer's racetrack. Well, the first 2 nights, racers proved that it's their racetrack. Still, I'm gonna get beat up for saying this. I'm still not a fan of Ocala.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm not. But I'll tell you one thing I am a fan of.
Yeah.
They brought the strawberry shortcake from East Bay up there.
Yep, that's what.
So I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of a racetrack that's running late models, mods, wing sprint cars, non-wing sprint cars the whole month of February. So
yeah,
I'm not shitting on Ocala.
Yeah, no.
I'm just I'm not the fan of the week as they're showing on the TV right now. I am not the fan of the week at Ocala.
Right.
There's other racetracks that I prefer, but and Ocala Speedway is super nice.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in, it's all paved. The underneath the grandstands is all paved. You got nice bleachers.
Yeah.
It's a nice facility. It's just not my cup of tea for racing.
Right. It's like it's one of them races I look at. It looks like it would be really fun to race on, but it's just not as much fun to watch.
Well, I've raced on it.
Yeah. You said you've been on both times, haven't you? Asphalt or dirt. So
yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I had fun both times because it was November and January.
Yeah.
And the weather was warm.
Yeah.
It was nice to be at the racetrack.
It wasn't here.
It wasn't here, so I had fun.
Yeah.
But that's about where we leave the fun meter. And hell, I'll just put it this way. Ocala still owes me $5,000 for a race. It wasn't because I got disqualified or anything. It's because I had a fuel cell vapor lock with 3 laps to go. But but it still wasn't no fun. Even when I was winning, I was like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But Justin Grant took the win the first night at Ocala. And then last night, the Macho Man, Brady Bacon, got the win.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say cool about the Brady Bacon win, I know Brady's going wing sprint car racing this year, but it was so cool. Like every time he wins, him and Ciciana's little girl gets up.
Yeah.
So Brady gets on the cage that does the Macho Man rip, and she gets on the right rear tire. And
she does it too.
And she does it too. So anything like that, when Kyle Larson does the wing stand and let Owen do it, and that's just cool. I mean, that's, those kids are going to remember that their whole lives. And not only that, there's going to be a kid at the racetrack that didn't really want to be there because Dad was there. There's probably kids at the racetrack that see that and they're just like, man, that's cool. Yeah. So they may not be, involved in racing and didn't even want to be there. But, they see their kids in Victory Lane doing the Macho Man, oh yeah, and stuff like that. So anything that can get kids involved in auto racing, I think that's cool as hell. So shout out to Brady Bacon. Upcoming events this week before we get into our interview. Tuckasee Tullabo. You got the Plunger on Friday. So Friday night is $5,000 to win late models and $1,500 to win mods, and 9,744 other classes.
Yeah.
But I think Clarksville's doing features only for them, so you're only going to have 9,744 races. But but no, there's a whole slew of cars. I'm not even going to get in. Not even going to get into the classes. There's A mods, B mods, C mods, mini mods, mod minis, all kinds of mods and minis, pure minis, minus minis.
Yeah.
But Clarksville's racing Friday and Saturday, and $10,000 to win Tullabo. I may try to make it down to that if the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm going to Vegas, so that's why we're recording the show on Friday. I'm leaving. Yeah. When this show comes out Sunday, I will be in Las Vegas and be back later in the week. So
I'm definitely going to make it down to Clarksville sometime this year, though, just because this is their last season.
Well, my buddy Robert said he thinks I read that wrong. He thinks they may have it's September next year.
Oh, okay.
That's what Robert told me. And not only did Robert tell me that, he told me the weekend that I'm coming home from Alabama for the $10,000 to win B-Mod deal that I'm going down to announce.
Yeah.
Just swing on by because that Sunday's when they are running the Summer National Race. He's already planned my schedule out for me.
There you go. That works.
Yeah, so I was like, hell yeah, Robert. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I think I misspoke on that. That's a correction. This is not going to be the last one. It's a 2-year lease.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 2-year.
Yeah.
But September, because I went back and looked on their schedule. They've even got a couple of super late model races in November coming up at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
So I think Lamar's like, I'm running every weekend, and then next year we'll be done. So it's September of 2026 is when they're done. So, just leave it to me. I got part of the facts right. I'm gonna screw up part of it, but
screw up, we let people know. It ain't no big deal.
I don't really take a whole lot of notes. I just do this thing. If there's anything like interview wise, if there's anything I say, hey. Because, we all need to improve on everything, but I'm just like, I don't write down shit. I'm just doing it all off the top of my head. And like, a lot of people don't know this. I'm just give you a little inside baseball. I don't research, like our guests. I don't research, like if I'm interviewing you, Flash, all right, I'm interviewing Flash this week. I'm gonna go through and look how many races, get all the stats. Yeah, dude, I was there at the Sports Dome in 2002 when you was beating everybody's ass. I ain't gonna go back and look at that shit. I know.
That's what I said. You've been around racing enough. You know these guys anyway.
Yeah,
so.
that's like Joey Kramer asked me last night. He's like, what kind of notes you got? I'm like, dude, I ain't got shit.
Yeah.
I'm doing it off the top of my head. So, and the cool thing about him was, he was like, hell, he don't know. I had to tell him his stuff. He didn't know. He's like, I don't know. How many track championships I go? You told him, you won a crate. He's like, oh, yeah, I did win that crate championship.
Yeah. Beat my ass every night.
Yeah. So that's how I remember that shit. I was getting my ass kicked. I was like, that's why I know 17 and 5/8 on the right rear upper bar.
Yeah.
Because the Lincoln Leadfoot was putting it through the floor.
Yeah.
No. Oh, Garrett Iverson started on the pole tonight.
Yeah.
Iverson drew the pole. So
this might be pretty good.
RTJ's got to work for it.
Pierce third.
Hope Ethan Dotson kind of gets around all of them.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Even though I am an RTJ guy, but I hope Ethan Dotson gets around all of them.
Well, RTJ's gonna win his fair share this year anyway. So
yeah, he's
I'm
already
pretty
won
sure
like
he's gonna be all right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's already won like 8 features this year. So.
Yeah.
And he didn't go to.
Yeah.
He didn't go to Vado.
Yeah. And he took off one night already because they was building a car.
Yeah.
That day.
Well, it's funny. I'm going to say this one more time for our buddy Chase. He gives me shit every time. He says every time you say Vado, or I always screw it up. He said, I just laugh out loud. So there, Chase, there it is again. I just screwed it up again for you. I don't know the name of the damn place, but every time he goes, he didn't even go out west this year. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's 2 more races I want to talk about coming up before we get into the interview. Southern All-Stars are at Buckshot Speedway in Clanton, Alabama. I think it's $7,500 a win. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what it says. But Buckshot Speedway, pretty cool racetrack, especially for an Alabama racetrack. It's kind of like a Midwest track. It's real wide,
Yeah.
So Southern All-Stars will be making their way down there. And Flash, if you're looking for a race to go to, I know one we're probably not going to go to. Lincoln, Pennsylvania, have the Icebreaker. The $5,000 to win 410 wing sprint car race. I'm down for always going to a race at Lincoln, Pennsylvania because the racetrack is badass.
Yeah.
I've been there before, but I think I'll pass on the Icebreaker in February.
Oh, yeah. It's probably going to be a little chilly.
It's probably going to be cold up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
A couple years ago, they actually scraped 10 inches of snow off the track to do track prep.
Oh, yeah.
So this is one of those events that if it's not raining, they are racing.
That's kind of like going to Beatrice Speedway in, was it Nebraska? Where they, I've watched them run there before, and they couldn't jump the cushion because above the cushion was snow.
Yeah, that's where Snowdrift Blair Nordoff got his nickname from.
That place is awesome though. Yeah, that's one of my bucket list tracks I want to go to.
Yes, I want to go to. I haven't been to. And I want to go to Eagle. There's a lot of stuff in the Midwest, upper Midwest that I really want to go to that I haven't been to. I mean, been to 328 of them, but there's a lot more that
we need to find sometime when they're running like.
Yeah, we need to make a trip. Yeah, we need to.
I think they run a lot of midweek stuff up there too, because it's kind of like IMCA stuff. The guys when they're not farming, they're racing.
They're racing.
They race 4 nights a week. So.
Yeah, they race 4 nights a week for 3 months, and the race season's over.
That's what a lot of people don't realize about the IMCA stuff too, man. I mean, there's places their regular night is a Wednesday night.
Yeah, I know.
And me and Brad went when we went to the
Super Nationals
up there. We went over to Stewart Speedway. And it was like on a Wednesday night, and that was like their regular show.
Yeah.
So they run there, and I was talking to the guys, and they run another track on Thursday, another track on Friday, and then Boone on Saturday.
Yeah, it's like,
just and they do that, like you said, for 3.5 months straight through,
and then they're done.
Yeah,
yeah. And then, but they race for 3 months like I like racing year round.
Yeah,
every night of the week.
Well, it gets colder up there. Plus, it's it's farming, so when they're planting, they can't do nothing, and when they're
when it's time to harvest,
they can't do nothing.
They can't do anything. Yeah. But yeah, Beatrice, Nebraska is one of those places that okay, that was about it. But there's a few things I want to talk about. Tracks that you want to visit versus tracks that you've been to. Is there something that like you just say I really really want to go there, or is there like 4 or 5 places that no I'm going there, or just I'm cool to go anywhere?
Yeah, I'm cool to go anywhere. Yeah, at least one time. I mean, I might go there and say I'm never coming back to this place again. Yeah. but there's I'm good to go. You know that.
Yeah,
we just take off and go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like because a lot of people like to go to the racetrack. Like there's people in our local area that's down in Florida, and it's a job. It is.
Oh yeah.
But they'll be so shocked when they find out that we went to, Iowa on a Sunday night. Like, oh, what? I'm like, well, we got home before time to go to work.
Yeah.
Like, I know, but last weekend you guys were in Georgia. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and next weekend we're going to be in Arkansas.
But what kills me is everybody acts like a 10-hour drive is like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, these cars, you can get a car that gets 40 miles a gallon. Yeah. It only costs you like $80 to go on a trip all the way halfway across the country and back. So
yeah,
it's not that big a deal.
And here's the thing. I'm gonna. This is that rant shit we're talking about, guys. If you don't like traveling to other racetracks, how do you know what you do and don't like in racing?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like I grew up in the pavement world. I was born and raised right here in Louisville, Kentucky. You had 4 of the better pavement tracks in all of the country, right here in this area. But as I branched out, I realized, hey, I really like this other stuff.
Yeah.
And then to go even further, as I, went and seen sprint cars, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So how do you keep yourself in such a small bubble? I'm sure certain racetracks like that there are people, but
they never go anywhere else.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
they run it in the ground and they ain't never been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. It's like I had somebody
I didn't know it didn't take like an hour to clean up a blown motor every night. Every single track in the country.
Yeah. I didn't know that concrete wasn't a suitable oil dry forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I had I'm like, what the hell? Won't they just put some concrete on it?
I think they were stealing it from IMI. I don't know.
Yeah, something. But there's and we're not hating on sports.
No,
I mean, I love Mike.
Just kinda,
but I mean, how do you not know?
I got 24 years in there. I'm not hating on it.
Yeah. I mean,
I ran there every night.
Yeah. How do you not know? I don't understand people that don't want to travel to other events. Is it a lot of work? Yes.
Yeah.
Does it cost a lot of money sometimes? Yeah, it does. But and I can understand if you can't, if budgets are tight and you can't. I get that. But just to say, no, I'm not interested in that. Yeah. How do you know you're not interested in it?
Plus, man, if you think you're just waiting to get to the racetrack, to watch the race and then just go straight back home and not worry about anything else, you're missing out on a whole lot of life.
Well, because you're missing out on 90% of the race trip.
Yeah, exactly. Places to eat, different stuff to see. You can jump off an exit and see something that you might not never go down that highway again.
Yeah. Well, it's like the time, my wife and I, the first time I went to Wartburg to announce a race, I didn't know 3 miles from Wartburg Speedway, they had 5 waterfalls.
Yeah.
I mean, all right there together.
Yeah.
I was like you travel to Gatlinburg to see this stuff, and these are beautiful waterfalls. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's like when we went to Sweetwater down there. That was beautiful down that area.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gorgeous. I mean, I don't understand why people are so close-minded. But if you live if you live in Marshalltown, Iowa, I can see why you wouldn't travel.
Yeah.
If you live in Fairbury, Illinois, I can see why you wouldn't travel on Saturday night.
Yeah.
If you live in Marshalltown, I can see why you wouldn't travel on Friday night. I get that.
Yeah.
But there's so many other nights throughout the week. I don't know how people can just be so close-minded. That's just... Yeah. I'm not going to go on a rant on that, but, I mean, you have to get out and see other places. And not only that, not only to see if you like anything else. It will also might make you open an eye and say, hey, I really appreciate what they're doing at my track.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that they're getting these races done by 10 o'clock because I went across the country and they didn't get done till 4 in the morning.
Yeah, they didn't start till 9:30.
Yeah. So, there's pros and cons to it all, but you have to get out and see the other stuff. Yeah. And not only that, I mean, you just have to support your local track.
Yeah.
We always say that, but you have to. How do you not know what you like? That's just my thing. I've had people tell me, I'm not really big into dirt late models. Well, when's the last time you seen a dirt late model race? Oh, 92 Brownstown. I'm like, 90 what? Yeah. Are you sick? And so that one time, like have you ever had chocolate ice cream? Yeah. Did you try vanilla in 74?
Yeah.
And then you decided you never eat vanilla again? No, I'm pretty sure you have vanilla ice cream again. Like, go try it.
Yeah.
The late models now, they're not what they was in the 90s.
No.
So that's just, before we get on a big box, I'm just gonna let that one go. But
yeah, I mean, and it's totally different. And like, even if say you watch sprint cars on TV, when you're at the racetrack, it's totally different. It's not even in the same ballpark. Just the sound, the feel when they go by. Yeah. I mean, if they're running wings, they're blowing you off the grandstand because all the wind off of them. It's crazy. I mean, people don't realize the different things that happen when you're actually at the racetrack.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Because
and you got announcers. You got different announcers that put on the show. I mean, it's just everything's different. It's just.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I seen something about an event going on in Florida, and somebody says it's streaming, and somebody said nope. And somebody goes, man, that really sucks. I wanted to see it. He goes, well, you can be here by the time it starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's my kind of answer. Which I can't go to Florida because I'm leaving in the morning. But but still, I love streaming. Absolutely love streaming. I mean, I watch races every night this week.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. But if a race is, especially if it's like within 3 or 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to stay home because. Hey, they, especially even like a weeknight. Like, there's been many times, like, I've gone to Circle City for USAC Sprint Week. I'm like, I'm not staying home. I can stay home and watch it, but I can also drive an hour and a half up the road, get a ribeye sandwich, get a fried bologna sandwich.
Yeah.
Sit at the racetrack.
Talk to people in the stands.
Yeah. So I'm not. We're all fans, and I'm just not that type. I'm not going to stay home, and but I'm also the type that. If you say, hey, let's go to Texas Saturday for a race. Yeah. Okay. Paper, rock, scissors. Who wants to drive? And honestly, you don't even got to be that because I don't mind driving everywhere. It don't bother me.
Bobby called me one day at lunchtime. He said, hey, man, he said, can you leave work? Because we're leaving for Daytona right now. It's like, okay. Yeah. Come pick me up.
Yeah. I said, Flash, I've got some tickets.
That ended up being off on a Monday too, though.
Yeah. You missed Thursday, Friday, and Monday because we had a rain delay. Yeah. Free tickets got you 2 occurrences. Yeah. But yeah, I'm the type person that I'll just show up and go. It doesn't matter to me. Like, hey, there's a 305 sprint car race in the heart of Texas. Okay, there's nothing else going on. Bet, let's go.
Yeah.
There's a limited modified race at West Memphis, Arkansas. The ditch. Bet, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm down for anything as far as traveling to races. There's not anything that I don't like. I can take a bad situation and make it a positive.
Yeah.
Because there's not really a bad night when you're at the racetrack.
Oh no.
Is there 10,000 cautions sometimes? Yeah. Is your wife going to kill you because you went to Cookeville, Tennessee on a Tuesday night and the late model feature starting at 1 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes she's ready to kill you.
Yeah.
But at the end, when we talk about this all the time, at the end of the week, it really didn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah.
You was tired one day, but you also got memories when you're traveling to Gatlinburg and you see a sign that says Cookeville, and she goes, "We're not going back to that place."
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of positives to it.
Or when you're on your honeymoon, you look across there, and there's a big lit up area over there, and you tell your wife or your new wife, 6 hours, new wife. And you say, that looks like a racetrack. She goes, no, it's a football field. I said, no, I think it's a racetrack.
Yeah, there's no dust flying around the top of a football field.
And you go find out it's a racetrack, and then you end up having to sleep in the car on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't find a hotel room on Memorial Day weekend, or Labor Day weekend, I mean.
Labor Day? I said, what wife are you talking about, Flash?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. It wasn't like he wasn't sleeping in the back of an Impala.
Yeah, I know.
He had plenty of room.
A nice 65 Impala. That was awesome.
Yeah, I drove a 72 Chevelle to the Bama Bash and got down there. It took me so much fuel money to get down there. I thought, we're sleeping in the car, babe.
Yeah.
Good, but it's like having bunk beds. I had plenty of room.
Yep.
So we've
had some good stories.
Yeah, there's some stuff that goes on like that. You're just like, damn, really? Okay, well. Yeah. And you know, talking about the race trips, if it wasn't for race trips, you wouldn't have that, you know, situations, you know. So, but we could ramble on all night.
Oh yeah.
Guys, sit back, listen, enjoy this week's deep dive with Rocket Man Joey Kramer. It's time for the Trading Sliders Deep Dives presented by Kentucky Clutch and Performance. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. On this week's Deep Dive, we have Rocket Man Joey Kramer out of Hanover, Indiana. How you doing, Mr. Kramer?
So far, so good. Waiting on racing season to start.
Well, that's kind of racing season's been started for us.
It's on, man. It's on your TV.
Yeah, it's racing season is full effect.
You know, it's funny. I remember a couple years ago. Well, it had been a long time ago. It'd probably been 07. We were down at Volusia racing. Decently warm day, and it was about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. Started snowing.
Oh yeah.
At Volusia, and I mean, we went ahead and raced the feature.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Well, I'm glad you started with Volusia because that was one thing I want to talk about. Is it 5 or 6 gators that you got from Volusia?
Well, they were bald eagles back then, and they're bronze. They're not the plastic. I don't know if they got plastic gators now or not. They kind of look like it.
Yeah.
I think 1, 2, 3, 6 or 7. I think
because in 2006, I think 5 or 6, I was down there the night when you won the championship, and I was like, that's the same guy that's kicking everybody's ass at the house.
Yeah.
He's down here putting knots on these guys' heads.
And you know, it's funny. We went down there. It was in 05. We went down there. The Rocket late model I drove for the Herod brothers. I wrecked it at Ponderosa, I think, bent the clip. They threw it away, threw it out in the back. I was like, hey, what are you going to do with that? Oh, let's go scrap it. I was like, hey, I'm going to make a modified out of that. I bent the front end, not the back end.
Yeah. The back's good.
The back was good.
Yeah.
So we brought it home and basically made a modified out of it. And I ran it around 04 after we parted ways. I went back with the modified stuff and just piddled with it. And then my cousin bought a brand new Lightning, and he ran it a little bit in 04. And he was getting out. He kind of got in over his head a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
most of us do. I kind of did that in the modified world too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Easy to do.
Yeah.
And so we bought it, and we took 2 cars to Volusia. The homemade Rocket car was in an enclosed trailer.
Yeah.
And the Lightning was on a 1972 open trailer that my dad and my uncles made when my dad raced.
Yeah.
And funny thing, the Rocket car blew a motor first night. I burned a piston. I was like, well, what are we gonna do? I got this other car. Let's run it. I won 3 nights with that old car, that Lightning car that I pulled down there on a homemade trailer from Indiana.
Yeah.
So
well, that's
awesome.
That's what I remember that because that was right around the time when the Battle of Bluegrass Modified Series started, and you went on to win 4 Battle of Bluegrass Modified Series championships, and I announced for the Cumberland Plateau Series now, so it's kind of pretty much the same thing, same tracks, Tazewell, all those places. But I remember going and watching, and I'm just like, the way the modifieds have projected to nowadays, I bet you kind of wish that we had more series back then because, you made your name in the modifieds and you went on and had success in the crate series, the crate stuff, but, the modified is what I always associate Joey Kramer with.
Yeah, that's pretty much, few people remember me in 03 with the Herod brothers and, making a few big shows but yeah, slinging that open wheel around, this area.
Yeah.
That's pretty well where I got my name.
Yeah, it's Did you have two nicknames? Because didn't they used to call you the Hanover Hangover also?
No.
No? Okay.
There's probably people that called me that. I've been called a lot of bad stuff before, but no, I never really had one. And the Rocket Man came up from Red Hill over in Sumner, Illinois.
Yeah, that's a big place.
I love that place. That was back in the what they called an Indiana street stock. It was basically a clip late model, small tires, 9-inch, and we went over there a couple times, and I don't know who said it, but somebody, damn, that car sure is a rocket, and then bam, here comes Rocket Man.
Yeah.
I think that was 97.
Yeah.
98. I think it was 1998.
Yeah.
When they come up with that.
Well, the thing about, me as I love all racing, but one thing I've always admired about you is, and I ask you this off air, is like, how in the hell you run your car so hard and not even ever run a non-wing sprint car, not one time, as we got them on the TV here. Like,
right. Yeah. Good old flow racing.
Yeah.
I would have loved to. My build is what kind of kept me away from it, because I'd have to have one of Dale Blaney's cars. Yeah. Big guy.
Yeah.
I would have loved to done it because several people have said, "Man, you've got two options. The way you drive, you're either going to be fast or you're going to die. That's your two options." Because
I was going to be more polite about it. I was going to say be fast or tear up a bunch of shit. So however you want to say it,
kind of the same thing, only different. But it was. I would have loved to do it, and Lawrenceburg's an hour away, and I had a couple of offers. People say, "Hey, man, if I can get you a sprint car ride, you do it." Yeah, I'd love to. But my then wife and my mom are like, "There ain't no damn way we're going to let you in them on them things, because we know what you're going to do."
Yeah.
So,
well, last year I was at Lawrenceburg last year, and there's a kid, a neighbor that lives next to me, and he just started racing mods the last couple of years, and we was up there, and I was giving him shit. I said, Joey Kramer's going to win tonight. I said, because this track is about perfect for him, and I'd be damned if you didn't pass every car and crash. I was like, there he goes, there he goes again.
That was my. That's what happened to me at Lawrenceburg last year. The car was really fast. It was almost like rock, paper, scissors every time you went down the corner. You knew what the front end was going to do, because the front end of that car is amazing, but the back end of it not as
not as predictable.
Not as predictable. And actually I got it out in the shop right now. We put different 4-link plates on it. I'm changing a bunch of stuff on it, but it's a good car, but it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
At Florence it was very predictable. When it's somewhat slick and smooth, predictable.
Well, Lawrenceburg is never slick and smooth.
I was hoping for that, but it wasn't.
It's never.
No.
And honestly, as a race fan, I prefer Lawrenceburg a little choppy, because it takes the right through the middle out of it. You got to choose. Am I going to run slow on the bottom, or am I going to run hammer down on the top?
Yeah, that's right.
So I prefer Lawrenceburg just to have a little character, not enough to tear up race cars, but enough to make the drivers work.
Yeah, and I like it. I like the old track. I like the new track. I don't prefer either one of them. I'm kind of like the old Ricky Bobby. I just want to go fast.
Right.
Yeah. And you can do it at Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, in Lawrenceburg you can definitely go fast.
And that place reminds me of the old Kentucky Lake.
Yeah.
Without the D-shaped front straightaway.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Lawrenceburg is almost not as much banking, but it's almost an identical track to Kentucky Lake.
Well, that's what I told somebody. It reminds me of a smaller Bull's Gap.
And I've never been to Bull's Gap. Always wanted to go.
Well, Cumberland Plateau Open Bonafide Series. We got two $2,000 win races this year there. So
I'll talk to the mod car owner and see if I can't get down there.
Yeah, because I'm telling you,
it's fun. I've run there. It's fun.
Bull's Gap is your type of racetrack.
Oh yeah, you'll be fast.
It's Tazewell, a little bit bigger.
Oh, Daddy likes Tazewell.
So
that's one. Brad. What's his name? Brad Neat.
Yes.
We went to before we went down there for the Battle of Bluegrass Modified deal. I asked him about it, and he said, "Tighten them belts down as tight as you can get them." He said, and after that first caution, you can tighten them down more. And he wasn't lying.
No, Tazewell.
That place will sink your ass in a seat.
Yeah, Tazewell. There's going to be a modified race at Tazewell this year. I'm going to throw out a cheap plug for Matt in the Cumberland Plateau Series, but first time in 6 years that the Open Wheel Modifieds are going to be back. I think it's $2,500 to win race for the Cumberland Plateau Series.
Okay.
So it's that's just a cheap plug on my end.
But I'm going to have to get some dates on that schedule, because if I can get that car like I like them, I'll go down to Tazewell, because I love that place.
We got a few places that's it's kind of your neck of the woods type racing. One thing I want to say, you won track championships in a crate late model. You've won super stocks. You won modifieds. Is there anything that you prefer over the other, or is it just something that I'll drive anything, I don't care?
I honestly like the modifieds the best until they changed the tires to that M30 and M60 in 2017.
Yeah.
After that, I wasn't worth a damn in a modified. I could not get the feel that you could get the feel with the old A's and H's.
Yeah.
I never could get that feel that I liked with them, and
well, they say the A and H, they say they're supposed to be the same, but they're not.
They're not.
They're not the same.
It may be the same rubber. But it's not the same shoulder.
Yeah, it's not the same sidewall. It's not. Nope. Yeah, it's all different.
Yep. Yeah, you can use the same mixture, but it ain't. That carcass is not the same, and it really affected me when they went to that.
Yeah.
And I was never as good, and plus I was getting up in age.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Hell, you've been doing this for 32 years. I mean, it's not like not like you're a spring chicken.
That's exactly right. I started when I was 16, just basically in a gutted Camaro with a roll cage in it. Racing against Randy Petro and Scott Patman and Earl Plessinger at Brownstown.
If you're racing against Plessinger at Brownstown, you're either learning or getting out of the way real quick back then.
I was getting out of the way real quick. Usually, I do. We jumped into this deal. It was really funny how I got into it. My dad raced for years, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna build a race car." He said, "You're stupid." Yeah. And I was 15. I didn't even have a license. He said, "How you gonna pay for it?" "I don't know. Mow some grass."
Yeah.
"Who's you gonna mow?" "Well, yours."
Yeah.
And actually, the property that we're on right now, I used to mow this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
From the previous owner. So. Yeah, I had like 3 or 4 lawns. I was going to build a damn race car.
Yeah, you had a few tires come from this yard, didn't I?
Yeah.
You've had 3 or 4 yards, so you could build a model car.
Yeah. It was kind of funny, and then it just happened. But I used to go over there and watch from time to time, like Brownstown and Vernon, and watching Earl and Randy Petro and all those guys. And then you get to race. I watched like Russ Petro, and I remember all the late model guys, but then I was like, hell, I can't afford that. And so we went with the street stock stuff and really enjoyed it and racing against those guys. Over at Brownstown especially, I suck at Brownstown.
Oh, that makes 2 of us.
Three of us. Three.
There was a couple times I was over there. I was one of the American Modified Series race. I was about to win, man. Here come that frickin' Ryan Thomas in his backyard. He drove right by me.
Yeah,
he was fast, especially that year. I think that was 2010 or 2011. He was fast.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really thankful that James Essex has gotten the modifieds back at Brownstown this year. I think that was a travesty that that I understand why it happened. I was there when the whole meeting thing happened. I get the guy's point, but Brownstown Speedway is not Brownstown Speedway without modifieds. That just is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't know what happened. I just saw that there wasn't going to race him. I'm like, well, damn.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you off air. Okay. It's not something I want to broadcast, but I get why it happened. I really do. Right. I really do. But there's a lot of guys that wasn't involved in that bullshit that was going on that lost. That lost a good place to race.
Where's a good place to race?
Well,
it ain't Brownstown.
Well, I'll put it.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Brownstown.
Yeah. Now we want a wall around Brownstown.
No, I've been.
Now, if you put a wall around Brownstown, I might be able to race on it.
Well, I've been saying that for everybody that I talk to. I think that's why Essex won't come on the damn show, because I done pissed him off. Because I'm like Brownstown needs a wall.
It'd be Fairbury if it had a wall.
Oh yeah,
because it'd be almost as good.
Because it would slick off with the curb. The problem with Brownstown is the racetrack is great in the heats, but after guys like me try to be Joey Kramer and knock the cushion off, you don't have a cushion.
There's no lip to hold on to. I remember years ago when I raced at Lawrenceburg, they graded a lip in the top of about a foot up from the where you would go over. They grade a 3 or 4 inch curb in it.
Yep.
By the end of the night, by God, there she was, and you were hanging that right rear on it.
Pumpkinville still does that to this day.
Oh,
Lincoln Park Speedway still to this day. So it's like a 10-inch curb.
Yeah.
If you want to go up there, it's up there like when it's slick.
Yeah.
When it's slimy.
If you dare.
Yeah, that's the way Pumpkinville is at Lincoln Park. So 32 years. How many? I seen an interview where you said you've only got a few more years left in you, and I know your daughter did a little bit of racing. So How much longer is Joey Kramer going to do this going in circles lanes, or is it you just going to play by ear?
I'm 49. I figured I'd go till I was 50, which was this year, 2025 is going to be 50. So this may be the last year. What sucks is I went and bought a fire suit last year.
Well, they can't be the last year.
What a dumbass.
It's like a couple more years in.
Yeah, but that's just because I outgrew the other one.
Yeah.
It looked like Chris Farley, that fat man in a little coat. It was bad. But I still enjoy the driving part. If I can find somebody to drive for that's got good competitive equipment, I would think about driving. But those rides are few and far between.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and up here, it's really weird. Back in the day, when we was doing the Battle of Bluegrass and some of the American Modified Series stuff, there wasn't no modifieds in Tennessee.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Now they're taking off in Tennessee and they're dying up here.
Yeah,
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a buddy of mine was talking about the other day. I said, you guys don't understand. Like, there was no, like, even in Kentucky, besides Bluegrass Speedway, the rest of it was spread out. It wasn't like there's mods everywhere. Indiana, you had 50 and 60 a night.
Yeah.
Now down Tennessee, you're getting 20. You're getting full fields.
Yeah.
And up here in Indiana, it's, besides Lincoln Park and Circle City, and they just benefit from being in the city of Indianapolis, so you got more people.
More people. Yeah.
I mean, the modifieds are kind of falling off here. I really hate that because sprint cars and modifieds is what Indiana's known for. It's what they should be known for. Late models have always been at Brownstown, but that's the only place that's had late models in the state for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. Other than special shows and hit and misses,
Right.
There wasn't very many places that run them. You get a Bloomington every now and then, and isn't what's the one up by Martinsville? Paragon,
yeah.
They ran some crate stuff, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they had 4 races last year.
Yeah,
it was but there have always been sprint modified too. I mean,
Exactly.
That's the Indiana Crate Series kind of morphed other tracks into having, you almost had to have them because their car count was so good.
Yeah.
But it still struggled every time you went somewhere else.
Yeah.
But at Brownstown you're good. But
Yeah, and you go to Brownstown, you're good, but then you go, like you said, anything else. But it's a sprint car state.
Yeah.
Other than the supers, I don't know how many people run crates in Indiana other than Brownstown.
Right.
And a couple hit and miss shows. Lincoln Park maybe run a couple,
Yeah.
and then Paragon. But other than that,
Yeah,
there's nothing.
Yeah, it's a sprint car state. I mean, it is. I mean, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I love non-wing sprint cars. I think they're the most competitive race cars in America. Really.
I used to call them push and flips, and I hated them. I did because I raced with them at Lawrenceburg, and when we were down at Volusia, we would run with the World Outlaws and all those guys, and they just get in a line and go. But that's so aero dependent down there. I mean, that's about what they do. I got flow racing during the COVID and stuff. I'm like, I like watching a non-wing and a wing show better than I do watching the damn late models now.
Yeah, that's I was the same way.
We was talking about the late models on the way up here, though, how aero dependent they are now. Like last night, the guy running behind somebody, he's 4 car lengths up the track before he knows what happened.
Nose is up. Yeah.
And especially in the crate car, like I got a question about crate racing because I'm a proponent for it. I like it because it's affordable. Well, more affordable.
Sort of.
More affordable.
The motors are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. More affordable. How can they make crate racing where is it a shock roll they need or an extra hard tire? Because like when you get down south, those guys just hold it wide open. Up here, our tracks slick off a little bit where you can still kind of drive the car.
Right.
But down south, you got red clay. You put it on the floor, and in 25 laps, you drive to the trailer.
Right.
Like what's the balance from a guy that's done this for 30 years to make it where it's more like race cars?
There is no fix. There's not. Once you've opened Pandora's box, you ain't gonna get it back, gathered back in. The supers with the aero dependent and the sealed off noses and the way that you got to drive those things, you're never gonna get it back. I don't think you're going to. Would I like to see it? Yeah, because you had to years ago when I did drive a late model you had to drive them things, but now, like you said, you hold the fat to the mat and go, and you've got to, even the crate car, you've got to drive those cars like you're just pissed off at it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and the late models are the same way. You've got to drive them like you're mad.
That's the way Joey Kramer drove his whole career, though.
Well, there's a mad Joey Kramer, and there's all right, hopefully get out front and relax. but very rarely did, I didn't ever relax because I usually had the car so damn tight you couldn't.
Yeah.
So I had to hustle it because if I backed off, I'd push like a dump truck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you always had to hustle in the corner. I'll never forget one night at Ponderosa Speedway, leading a Bob Series race, or one of their, it was a Friday night show, paid good. My girlfriend, which was my wife, now my ex-wife, she was down there giving me signals in the infield. And she was telling me I had a big lead, and then, I mean, she gave it to my buddy, and they stood down there like 10 foot apart, and they were shaking.
Yeah.
And I just waved at her. Next time I come by there on going in turn one, she was flipping me off. She was like, you
can say what you want here, man.
you dumbass, why didn't you back off? I was like, I couldn't. If I didn't roll that thing in the corner like I was rolling in the corner, I'd have ended up over the turn 2 wall.
Yeah.
And, well, I never thought of that. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna say she gave you the wrong signal, and I was gonna say maybe she's your ex-wife because she was giving signals to your buddy.
No.
Okay, I'm just checking.
No.
And those crate cars are like that though. If you back, they're harder to drive.
Crate cars are,
if you
modified.
back off.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Modified. Those are the hard now. And when I was really good in them, I still think they're the hardest freaking cars to drive because you got now 700-800 horsepower on an 8-inch tire, and that new M60 M30, it's a shit tire.
Modifieds are always going to be the hardest car to drive. I don't care. As long as they keep them on the tires they got, they're always going to be the hardest thingers to drive.
They're a lot more drivable on the old tires.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I wish the modifieds would come up with a better shock rule or something where they have less traction.
Yeah.
Because to me, modifieds are just late models without fenders now. That's what late models were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're just about 10 years behind. That's it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And back when...
A little bit smaller tire.
Yeah.
And that's it. I drove the Masterbuilt house car there in the modified, and that's what I think it was. I can't remember. It was Keith, I think. She said, huh? This ain't nothing but a late model.
Yeah.
With our shocks, basically, our shocks, non-adjustable, and little tires. He said, I don't know how you people gonna drive these things.
Yeah, we just do.
Yeah.
We're just dumb enough to do it every week.
Exactly. We can tear it up and go again.
Yeah.
I just the crate is hard, and this is something that I learned pretty quick. Momentum. You don't touch that brake pedal. You've got to have a free on entry car to where you can just zip the wheel and it goes.
Yeah.
And you got to keep your foot on the pedal. I mean, the modified, I didn't let off the throttle much. I trail braked it, and I didn't probably most of the time, unless it was extremely slick, I never let halfway out of the throttle.
Yeah.
And you can tell by the right rear quarter panel smashed off the wall.
I was going to say, especially places like Eldora, I've really seen Kramer get up in the fence a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't never drove really good go-karts, like, racing carts and everything, but I think a crate car's about as close as you can get to running them.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it is.
Just what I would be thinking it would be like.
Like a clone heavy.
Yeah.
Just getting a line, and you got to almost root them up out of the way. I mean, there's places you're going to be better than other guys, but I mean they're hard to. Well, let me put it this way: the Rocket that I bought, the XR1 that I got, didn't turn near as well as that Masterbuilt that I drove there for a year for Randy Robbins. And it didn't have traction. That car out there ain't no wonder I was kicking those XR1 asses in 19 with that 2013 Masterbuilt, because it was easier to drive and it had more forward traction.
Yeah. She flipped all the way down the back straight away.
Okay, we're going to hold on a second. We're going to watch this replay.
If you can see it, but...
Oh, yeah.
Was that the girl from Dillsboro?
I think it was,
Kayla Rell.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
went for a ride.
That's about 10 of them.
Yeah.
That's
nasty.
Yeah, that's a rough one there at Ocala. Have you ever been to Ocala?
I've seen it, but I've never raced on it.
It
looks like a teardrop.
I raced on it on the pavement and dirt, and it sucks on both. So I'm just gonna be honest.
It almost looks like, and I'm no dirt engineer, but it almost looks like if you could put a little bit more banking in turn 3 and 4, it would race better on turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, because it does kind of tabletop off the corner. It does,
and you can see them. You get up so far, and it's just like they hit ice and they shoot
towards the wall.
It's right towards the wall.
You been to Windy Hollow down on the other side of Owensboro? Got the pond in the middle, goes out the back stretch, real D shape. They had some American modified races there.
I don't think I've went to Nebo.
Okay, yeah, no, Nebo's got a wall. That place races a lot like Windy Hollow. It's real tight corner, and then the backstretch you run from here to Hanover to Cincinnati, back over to the real tight corner.
And coming off 4 is about the same way as Windy Hollow too.
Yeah, it's
really sharp.
Yeah, it's not a. I mean, they pack it in down there, but it doesn't race very good.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to talk about, you've always seemed to do better on bigger tracks. I don't know why that is, but Volusia, Eldora, Twin Cities, Vernon, Lawrenceburg now, Terre Haute. Yeah, like so. Yeah. What fits your? Why is that? Is it just the way it worked out, or is it? Or you just always had the biggest engine? You're like, I want to go on a big track.
It might be that. But what's funny? The most races I won was under a 400 cubic inch motor.
Yeah.
23 degree on alcohol. The thing would just run, and it was good stuff.
Yeah.
And I hit a combination, and when you hit it, you don't want to mess with it.
And it's if you can get it drivable, that's why I used to be at the Drum on asphalt. When I run asphalt, I had a little 377, but I could flat foot it from the center of the corner out, and never spun a tire where them other guys are breaking loose, and I would just drive around them.
Yeah, you can turn underneath them and go.
Well, it was like that year I built that 421. I was going to be badass that year.
Yeah.
That
slowest year you had?
Yeah, that little 383 was way better.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
And I got caught up in that game. Man, I'm getting outmotored. So I built a freaking thumper in 2010.
Yeah.
You couldn't drive that son of a bitch for nothing. We had,
trying to detune it as much as
we were
we can.
detuning it, turning the timing back, and
I need less gear.
It was, I've fallen victim to that, and I went, honestly, I think it was 2019. I was like, I broke a motor the last night at Florence in 2018. I was like, I'm gonna build that small motor back and put those good heads and all that. And I wound that smaller cubic inch motor. It was like a 400 bore and a 3 5/8 crank, and that thing pulled like a freaking train, and it never stopped. And it was just like that when it was the 23 degree on alcohol. I was 15 degree on gas, but I loved it.
Yeah, when it works, it works.
And that's the thing, I really didn't have the biggest motors. I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a good equipment, the best we could afford, but I didn't have the biggest thumper there was, because I knew the way that I drive out there, ain't no damn way I can.
Yeah. You're not going to keep the rods under you, man. When he says he's going to put it through the floorboard, he's literally going to put it through the floorboard.
Yeah. I mean, and I've always liked bigger tracks. I don't know what it is. The first time I went to Eldora, and like bluegrass, I loved bluegrass down there in Bardstown.
Yeah.
Bigger track. Yeah. The only real good that I've been on small tracks was probably like Ponderosa.
Yeah, but it races like a big track though.
It does,
because it carries so much speed. It doesn't race like a small track.
Until they put that red damn dirt on it. And I was never good down there after they put that on there. But they ruined about 3 or 4 tracks down in Kentucky putting that red shit on there.
Well, I'm from Louisville, and I'll go ahead and say this: there's only about 2 tracks in Kentucky that I like in general.
Yeah. One of which is closed. No.
Yeah, well, 2 of them.
I love Florence.
Yeah, no, I do love Florence, and I'll be honest. I went down to 191 last year, first time in many years, and I don't know how it is every week, but the night that I was there for the Southern All-Star stuff, it was phenomenal. It was the closest thing you're going to get to a Midwest racetrack in the South. Yeah. It was slick, and it had about a 13-inch cushion on the wall. So, hats off to them. And Rockcastle, they've come a long way. The Rockcastle Speedway there, it's slicked off, and you get to run the fence. It almost reminds. It races a lot like the old Bardstown.
Okay.
Rockcastle does.
I've never been down there. I've been wanting to go, but I've just not made it down there.
Yeah, it's there for a while. It was
it looked slick and dusty.
Around it was.
Yeah.
But here last year it was. I was there 3 times and 2 times with the series, and it was good every time I was there. So, I'll call a spade a spade.
Right.
Usually I'm the one that says, that place sucked, but it was good all 3 nights I was there. Yeah. I can't speak on the other 27, but those 3 that I was there, it was good.
Good.
So it's kind of like Circle City. A lot of people, I've seen people bitch about Circle City. I've been there probably 10 times, and I've only seen 1 bad race.
Yeah.
So, to me, I think it's great. Yeah. It's a little bull ring. It gets a big cushion. It's got a wall where you can lean on it.
Yeah.
Late models run good. Sprint cars run good. Modifieds run good. So, hats off. I'm not going to knock them.
Right. And I've never been up there. And I've seen some videos. I was like, man, I don't know if that's my cup of tea. But then a buddy of mine's son went up there with a car that I built him a couple of years ago, a Camaro, just like a pure stock.
Yeah.
And he said, man, I love that place. He said it's small. But he said, man, you can race all over it.
Yeah, you can.
And I watched the videos.
I think the past couple of years has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, the first year,
I went the first year and it wasn't very good, but it's getting way better now.
Especially when the sprint cars are there, they throw the stuff up. And it builds up a cushion, and they don't touch it. They don't go out there and knock it down. They just let it go all night. One night I was there, they did kind of scrape the entry once because it was kind of ramping, and they got those like not Jersey barriers, but like the concrete walls that they stack on top of each other.
Right.
So it was getting to where you almost had to ramp out of the racetrack. So they knocked it down, but it hats off to them. I will tell you that. Circle City has been phenomenal the last few years.
And they've, it takes a year or two to figure out what you need to do with the place.
Well, and they were a bunch of pavement guys.
Yeah, that's because they had asphalt or run pavement. Yeah.
So they had no idea. So.
All you gotta do is water it on Saturday, or let's see, Friday afternoon. All you gotta do is water.
Water one time and it's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's
urban legend.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to like. I know a lot of people give Josh King shit, but I've watched him one night back in the Battle of Bluegrass days. They had about 5 inches. The night that Neat took down the scoreboard,
Going into 3.
Yeah, going into 3. But I literally seen him cut 2 feet off of that racetrack, and then when the race was over, I was like, I want to stay here, and he put all that back on. Like I was like, he may have a shit track occasionally. But hats off to that guy for a $3,000 to win late model race. That he's going to tear the racetrack up. And then put it back together. I mean, I won't say nothing bad about him.
No, he's got that place figured out, what he needs to do, and what the weather is, and what he needs to do. And occasionally, I remember going over there one time last year, and it was kind of around the bottom. But you know why it's around the bottom? Because one class starts it there, and everybody goes there. It ain't really the track's fault. It's the guys that's out there driving the damn things that they just get in a line and go.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I told Kurt. I went to the fast wing sprint car race there last year, and I told Flash, I said, Flash, like I love the late models at Florence, but I swear I think the wing sprint cars may be the raciest things I've ever seen here because they got such a big right rear tire and they carry so much speed they can't run the bottom.
No,
I mean they were ripping the fence. I was like, this is badass.
That means that high limit race is
it's going to be good.
Better be a good one. Yeah, be a good one to go to.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's a shame that it didn't happen last year because that fast race was shockingly good.
Yeah.
I mean I was well surprised. I went because of the non-wing sprint cars. And they were okay. Ricky Lewis put on a well-performance race in the fence while everybody else was riding around the bottom.
Right.
But that wing sprint car race, I was like, son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Like this is badass.
They can they can hold it going through the corners with that big old wing on there.
Yeah.
They'll plant, and that place is a paperclip. I mean, you got some straightaways there.
Yeah.
And turn 1, you got to kind of lower up a little bit more than 3 than you do going into turn 3, and I bet those guys. I would have loved to have seen the vapor trails flying off them wings going in the corners, man. Because that place it's fast.
It was really good. I was very, very shockingly surprised because I like all racing. I've been on record as saying wing sprint cars is not. I kind of like the 360s better than the 410s because you got to kind of drive them like non-wing cars. But the 410 wing sprint cars, I've seen 4 or 5 races last year where I've flipped. About like you called them the pushing flips. I always called them the straight lines, but I've kind of flipped. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. Seeing what some of those guys can do in those things is.
Yeah.
And I'd like to try it, but I'm getting old and I'm not going to heal up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say this, not like we're best friends or anything, but at your age, you should probably stick to what you're doing because actually you're going to be sore. If Rocket Man pulls a Rocket Man in one of those things, you're going to be sore.
I'll probably be out laying in turn 3 or turn 4 on the outside of the fence because knowing me, I don't know. Take it easy.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know that. So.
Where does that mentality come from? Just I'm going to go balls to the wall. It's the Rich Vogler mentality. Where did that come from? You want to win practice? Well, now practice counts as qualifying, so you have to.
Yeah,
but for years, Joey Kramer, he'd be the first because back then when you didn't draw, he's the first son of a bitch that pulls on the track, and he's going to set the mark and say, all right, guys, beat it.
Yeah, and that was the way I'd gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say you can't win Hon laps. Well, you can win You can kind of.
Oh yeah, you can beat up on the young kids because you done psych them out.
Right,
and you can find out where you're at.
Exactly. And and some of that was probably more of a mental thing for other people that I was racing. If I could go out there and lay down a really good lap, hot lapping, or even qualifying, there people might have been. Shit.
Yeah. There goes tonight.
I'd like to think that. Yeah, I'd like to think that. That's probably not what it was, but I'd like to think that, not because I was good, but maybe damn, he's already
he's already half second faster.
Yeah. And it's not even blowed off yet. And,
yeah.
And it's funny. I used to love a heavy racetrack, but now. I'm kind of liking that slow, slick, and smooth.
Yeah.
See, you're getting older.
With age comes a cage, and you like to, but I still like to get the cowboy up mentality and that modified. I could do it, but then I didn't know where it was going to go. Yeah. So it wasn't like driving my old Lightning. It's a good car, but there's a feel that I like.
What kind of chassis is it?
It's a Mark Bush.
Mark Bush, okay.
Yeah. I think we raced it 10 times.
Yeah.
10, 12 times. Front end on it's great, but I just could not get a feel for the back end of that car. It would be a tight, one lap would be tight on entry, and you'd think you'd go in the corner the same way. The next time you go in there, you're about to spin the damn thing out. So I just couldn't get comfortable, and it's.
Well, you got comfortable a few times. I seen you picked up a win at Florence.
Yeah, it was slicker and shit.
Yeah. And you could go slower.
Yeah, and the other time I about won a couple laps from the end. Trent Green got up there on the top and started singing it, and
he pulled a Joey Kramer on Joey Kramer.
Exactly.
I think he grew up watching you.
He's about 30 minutes from here, so
he drives kind of the same way. I think.
He's either go or no. There's no in between on that one.
And there's a good probability that the right rear quarter panel can be tore all to shit.
Yeah.
And the deck's going to be about half knocked out of it.
Well, hell, now they make that scat composite.
You just hang a checkered flag over that when you get the picture.
That's right. Yeah. You never see it.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, you would have benefited from that scat composite shit
20 years ago. If I could have come up with that, I'd have been a millionaire.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, you would have saved a shitload of pop ribbons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You would have been a thousandaire in pop ribbons saved.
Yeah. I should have bought stock in that because now I went to bolts. It's a lot easier to just take the whole damn thing off.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was about 2010. I went to bolts, and my God.
What?
Zip, and you can knock that fender off or quarter panel off, straighten it out, throw it back on there. And
I'll
tell you something that's really funny. There's some kids, I still do, like hell, I've done 8 bodies since Thanksgiving. So there's still some kids that the right rear deck piece, I bolt it in too. I don't even put rivets on the inside. I put 4 bolts down it because when I got to make another one, I can zip it right back off and fix it.
Yep.
There's a few kids I still I use the bolts on the decking too.
Yeah. I probably needed to do that too. Especially that crate late model, because my brain still tells me to get it up there on the top.
Yeah.
It won't pull itself out of a cushion.
Now, I don't remember. So you took a couple years off for COVID. Was your first crate late model race, was it at 411 when you first come back out?
Yeah.
Because I remember talking to you, because you had an open trailer.
Yeah.
I remember talking to you down there. And I was like, I thought Joe, and just thinking to myself, I'm like, I thought Joey Kramer done retired. And then he come rolling out in the crate late model. I was like, damn, like he's ready to go again.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I was. No, I took a couple years off. I sold all the modified stuff off, the car in 2019 and the trailer in 20 and the motorhome in 21, I think, early in 21. And then my daughter was racing go-karts and doing pretty well. She'd start for a girl, not knocking any girls. I'm not saying that, but she just started. I had an old junk cart it was an old asphalt cart that I threw together, and she got to going pretty good. And then I thought, well, hey, babe, do you want to do this a little bit more professionally, a little bit more competitively? Yeah, sure. She was 7 or 8.
Well, hell yeah, I want to. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, sure, we'll do that. Yeah. So I went and bought a better cart, couple of motors, and then she decided she wanted to play softball and basketball. Okay. No problem. So I sold that, and I was like, Dad might need to get back into a race car again.
Yeah, I need something because you can't play softball or basketball.
No, I can't. I'll watch the shit out of it. But damn Ricky Bolton over in Ohio there, he said, hey, can you come drive this car? Okay. So I went and tested in a modified.
Yeah.
And I should have never freaking done it. 'Cause then I brought it back here. I worked on it, and unfortunately I blew 2 motors of his up.
But he wasn't used to somebody.
He wasn't ready for my foot. But but we were running first and second in the feature there when it happened at Lawrenceburg, and then I kind of got the fever a little bit. I didn't do any. Let's see, I did 2 races in 2020 after I fixed a car for a guy and ran at Lawrenceburg in a pure stock and won, and then I done 2 races in 21, and I thought, well, maybe I need to get something again. And a buddy of mine was like, just get us a crate car. You ran so good in that car, that old master built up at North Vernon and Florence when we went over a couple times. Let's get a crate car. All right.
Yeah.
It sounds like a hell of an idea. I'm going to late model racing.
Peer pressure's a bitch because I wasn't going to do it. Then I wanted to do it. Then I didn't want to do it. And I found one complete guy was selling out everything but a trailer.
Well, because he already knew what you just told us.
Yeah.
And then, so I went, but yeah, the first, I bought that car, I consider it my birthday present. At the beginning of November, I bought that car up in, where was Paul Schaefer from?
Oh,
Portage?
Yeah, Portage.
Yeah. I bought it up in Portage. The car had 5 races on it. And it was a complete sellout. And I went down there and bought it, or went up there and bought it, and brought it here. Slicker was here the next week putting stickers on it. And my buddy said, let's go 411. I don't think I'm ready for that. I haven't driven one of these things in a while. I haven't ever driven this car. I don't think I need to go down there. Well, I ended up
he was there, yeah. It wasn't that bad of an Audi.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't too bad.
No, I mean, I made the show both nights.
Yeah.
Am I proud of it? No. I ran like 15th.
But hold on a second. If you make a 604 crate late model race in East Tennessee, you better be proud of it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's like going to Fairbury and making a mod they made.
Yeah. Well, and, all those motors down there were on E85. I was on gas. I was on pump gas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was at a major disadvantage power-wise.
He didn't have no clue what he was getting into.
Oh, well, I was a knife to a gunfight down
he's
there.
He's like, who's these cartwheel boys? Yeah. Damn, there they are.
Well, and I'd hear them sitting over there and running by, going to tech, and I'd hear the womp, 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 womp. And mine's sitting there sounding like an 89 Chevy pickup truck. Yeah, and I was like, well, this could be an advantage or disadvantage. That's E85 is probably not going to be running good when it's 40 degrees or 38 degrees. Yeah. Maybe I'll. No, shit. No. He's fast. Ronnie Johnson's down there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some boy from Georgia won both nights down there. I don't know who it was, but he's fast as shit. And I was like, he lapped me. I mean, I think we went green to check.
Was it Michael Page?
It might have been.
I think it was Michael Page. Yeah, I think it was.
So.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about that. Michael Page laps everybody everywhere in those cars.
He's fast.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, and I was like, man, I think I bit off a little bit more than I can chew here. And,
That's funny you said that because
Michael Page has been known to got caught with.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you might not have been running against equal equipment either.
Here's the thing. I'm going to defend Michael Page on that.
No, I'm just
no. I'm just saying that whole deal that weekend. What was found on those 3 guys' tires was the same. It was found on 3 different divisions, and supposedly at the tech shed there was a thing of WD-40 knocked over, and they peeled them up. All 3 guys rode across the bucket as they got tested. So that's what I heard. So I'll defend him. I don't know him from Adam. So,
no, I don't either.
But I know 3 cats got disqualified in 3 different divisions for the same shit, and those guys all are in on the same shit.
I just know in crate racing, everybody's looking for every advantage they can get.
Yeah. And especially with that hard tire rule down there.
Yeah.
I was used to running D21s up here, and I go down there and I got to be on a 1600 or a 55 or something like that, and it's 36 degrees, and I wasn't prepared for that, and it,
he's like, I'm Rocket Man. I'm gonna make this shit work. He gets down there, whoa.
I knew it was going to be tough. I hadn't sat in a late model in a couple of years, and you're going down there with some pretty good cars, and big old toter homes rolling in next to me, and I'm on an open trailer, and, which I kind of like that.
Yeah, trailers don't win races.
They don't, and that's what my dad always said.
They just fix shit. Sometimes it's easier to fix shit.
Yeah, it is.
But it's also easier to clean your shit after a bad night with an open trailer.
With an open trailer, So, and I'm looking to go back to an open trailer this year too. So, get rid of my enclosed. My diesel pusher don't like that big heavy tongue weight.
Yeah.
So I've got to do something.
Well, speaking of this year, so what are your plans? What exactly are you going to do? Are you gonna chase the Northern All-Star Series?
No.
He's done series racing.
I done that 20 years ago, and I'm good.
Yeah.
I maintain the stuff mainly by myself. So if I wreck it, I'm out here working on it, going to softball games, going to softball practices with my daughter, swim this, swim that.
Well, you got to do what my dad did, because when I played high school basketball, he didn't miss anything. But when the game was over, guess what we did? We worked on the race car.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nights I got home at 11:30, worked till 3 in the morning, tired as shit the next day at practice. He's like, I went to your shit, now you got to help me on my shit.
Yeah, my daughter has no interest in this whatsoever. Yeah. So, and most of my pit crew all those years was my family. It was my dad and my mom's couple of brothers and a cousin. So it's mainly a family deal. Well, it's a senior citizens deal now, because I mean I've been racing for quite some time, and
he done wore out their welcome. They're like, hell no, we're not going to Tazewell on a Thursday night.
No, and I drive the motorhome, and my mom is 80, and my uncle I think is 74, 75. My mom's still go getter, boy. She outworked me. Yeah. And she does flowers and like a big garden, and her house looks like a freaking jungle down there because of all these plants, because she's got a greenhouse, and I mean it's a really nice setup. But she'll get out there early in the morning, work till 10, it gets hot, and she'll go in the house for a while, and the sun starts to go down. She'll go back out there and start working.
Well, you're gonna have to turn the air on in the garage and let her do your tires.
I'd love to. But she likes to go, because she's been going since 1966 or 68, so she doesn't know anything. And she was bored to death the 2 years that I took off. Yeah, she's like, what are you going to do this week? I don't know, probably lay around the house. Let's go watch racing somewhere. I'm like, well, no, because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, see, we've talked about this before. I'm one of those guys, when I quit, I told my wife, I was coming home and I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. And she's like, what? We're like in the middle of the season, I'm like, didn't you say your little brother had a basketball game this week? Well, let's go to the basketball game. And so she's like, okay. And then, the next week I still didn't get the car out. She's like, you going to race? I'm like, no, I think I'm done. I'm like, let's go watch sprint cars. Let's go watch all the shit I didn't get to watch because I was sitting in staging.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
for 2 years, we went all over the country, everywhere. I was like, this is easy. I'm not working on a car 5 nights a week. I can go to the racetrack every night. This is great.
Yeah. and if it would have stuck, it would have been good for me, because COVID happened. And, I quit there in, 2020, and then COVID happened, and it kind of slowed everything down. I was like, well, what are you going to do? What can we do now? And if I'd have stuck with it and not got the itch again, I'd have been a lot better off. A lot more in my bank account, I'll tell you that. Because selling everything and then getting back into it.
Man, when it's all over with, though, all you got some memories anyway. So, so make them.
Yeah. And as I talked to my mom about that, she's like, we went a lot of places, and we seen a lot of things, and we done a lot of,
made a lot of memories.
Right. She goes,
you can't get, that's one thing you can't do.
I don't, she says, I don't know if I could have scripted a better life, other than losing my dad in 07.
Right.
She's, stuff we did and stuff we seen and stuff, it's just awesome. And she goes, I would have never been doing all this stuff years ago. I never thought I would have been doing it, so she enjoys the ride. I mean, that's mainly the reason I do it now, because she still enjoys it.
Well, that's good. That's why we got another one on our lid. Not to cut you off, but somebody else just went for a ride in the old hooligan race. Yeah. The OP Maine. Yeah. We damn near put one out of the ballpark at Ocala.
Yeah.
Is that turn 1?
Yeah, I'd say it's turn 1.
Coming off
because where the guardrail is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the wall got so low there, they just put a death trap on top of it.
Yeah.
Yes. That one's hard.
You can't even see the wall.
No, that one's hard. You look at the right front and pushed over.
Yeah,
it's all done.
Yeah, that one's junk. I think that's the old boy out of Texas too that had the motor engine all week, all problems all week. Yeah, it is. Kyle Jones out of Kendall, Texas, needs a clip to go with that engine that's not running.
Well, that thing's smoked from the.
I think it tweaked the whole top of it. Yeah.
Motor plate forward. That thing's done.
Yeah, that looks like Joey Kramer got to run a non-wing sprint car tonight. That's what that looks like.
That's probably a lot with what it looks like. Yeah. You're not kidding.
So making memories with your family. Flash and I say this all the time. When it's over and done with, that's all you have is the memories. Hell, we go on vacations together. We go to races all over the country. We're fortunate enough that we're able to go do this stuff and enjoy it. And that's the reason why we started this podcast, because, we got people that listen from all over the country, and people in our area knows who Joey Kramer is. People in California don't have a clue who Joey Kramer is.
They think that's just a drummer in Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's the only way anybody in California ever heard that name.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. When I put this up, they may say, "Oh shit," and then somebody will stumble onto the whole racing thing.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
No, because if you used to Google that, if you used to Google Joey Kramer, you'd see the bunch of the, the drummer in Aerosmith, and then bam, there I am racing, blah, 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 blah. I just wonder how many clicks I got on those websites and shit back in the day, because they're like, hey, is this...
Like, man, he's a musician too. Like, nah, man, not me.
No, I'm a lot taller and a lot poorer.
Yeah.
That's
I do a lot dumber shit, okay?
I don't know.
Well,
Being on tour with
yeah.
Steve and Tyler and
yeah, there was probably some dumb shit done in Aerosmith days. Yeah.
So we're probably even on the dumb shit.
Yeah. Well, see, he's halfway like the other Joey Kramer.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So we didn't really get your plans for this year. So what's your plans going to be?
I'm driving a modified for Ray Butchie over in Cincinnati. We're going to do selected shows. He likes going to Florence. And but he's talking about if I want to go other places this year.
Ray, he wants to.
Ray wants. Yeah.
He wants to. I'm just putting this out there, Ray.
Yeah, exactly. And nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
So I saw Ponderosa was paying pretty decent for mods.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, and then pretty good for crates.
Yeah,
really good for crates. So I might go venture down there. I know I'll get my ass kicked down there.
Here's the thing, though. If you're going to go modified racing at Ponderosa, last year at the end of the year, the couple times that I was there, it wasn't the old Ponderosa. It was on the fence.
Yeah.
Daddy lied.
Yeah, no, it was on the fence. Yeah, it was Joey Kramer-ish. I mean, it was on the fence. It wasn't I don't know the new guy that's got it, but apparently he loves the water truck.
Well,
yeah, he must have something in his contract where he can't have any dust.
Well,
I mean, this son of a bitch was on go mode.
Really?
So
I might actually be able to do something.
Yeah.
Well, about half the feature, and I better have a caution because I'll be dying.
He's like, he'll get out of the car and he'll blame it on the 30, but it was actually him.
Yeah,
He's like, it's
exactly.
tired.
Yeah.
Well, you can run American Racers there too.
Well, I saw that, and I'd like to know if the ARs are equal to or better than.
We'll talk about that off air too.
Okay, gotcha. I tried those several years ago. I think it was over at that Harley race over in Ohio.
Yeah.
At Brush Creek.
Yeah.
I bolted a set of American Racers. My God, that's a race car tire.
Well, let me.
Until I blistered it. I thought it's about tax time. I might need to put a for sale sign on the race car and the trailer and all that stuff. Just, if I can sell it, I'll sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great car. Hell, the motor's only got 3 or 4 nights on it. And
well, it's because you're a modified guy. You're a modified guy. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. Some guys, like Devin Gilpin, he's a modified guy. He's won 4 or 5 track championships at Brownstown in the late model, and he does good for what he does for his budget and what he's racing with.
Regional area.
Yeah. But he is a modified guy. Yeah. He drives the wheels off a modified. He's a modified guy.
Yeah.
It's the same way as RTJ. I know he's the greatest late model driver in the country right now, but guys, guess what? He's a modified guy.
He is.
It just is what it is.
Yeah. And he's got something figured out.
Yeah. It's
I thought it might have went with Burroughs when he went to 76 and O'Neill come back, but I think it was with Thornton.
I think Thornton's got a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
He's got something on there.
I think RTJ is a lot more on the setup end than people think. He's not that dumb kid that just shrugs his shoulders.
Yeah. I think he's rather intelligent with it. He figured out something that works for him.
Yeah.
With the SSI car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by God, after getting settled in where he's at now,
yeah,
he's pretty damn tough.
Well, here's all right, I said we was going to be close to being done, but we may not. Here's the thing about Ricky Thornton Jr. The SSI car, I'll say this because I don't care who I piss off. The SSI car wasn't that good before RTJ got there.
No, it wasn't.
It was just another car.
It was a hit and miss.
Yes. I mean, it was good occasionally, but it wasn't consistent. Anthony Burroughs did a hell of a job in his own racing career. Mm-hmm. Burroughs was good in Tennessee and Alabama. And when I think him and RTJ together was really good. But I think it also shows when he left that RTJ knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
The kid that, you talked about racing with an open trailer out of a pickup truck. I mean, he made a living doing this when nobody was making a living doing stock cars and mods, out west in the Midwest.
Yeah.
The kid can
stuff.
Yeah, the kid can flat out drive. So I will fight this fight to the end of the day. I mean, it's not like we're best friends or anything, but if you do not like Ricky Thornton Jr., you do not respect a guy that can drive a race car.
I would agree.
That's I don't care what you think of him off the track, but on the racetrack, he is one of the best.
He puts it out there, and he gives it 110.
Yeah.
And sometimes it looks like he's giving 110 on a car that ain't gonna give him.
Yeah.
And I, you know, I've found myself doing the same thing a lot. You're trying to get 100% out of the car that's a 90, and you give it the 110, and you ended up screwing something up.
Well, that just happens.
It does.
You know, and you talk about you gotten older. You know, you kind of like it more slow and slick. Guess what? He's still young.
Yeah.
As he gets older, if he doesn't get a wild hair up his ass aside, he's gonna go conquer sprint cars or something.
Yeah.
Because he's another guy that I say.
What did you see his post today?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he said, well, I got like a month and 2 days to go run micros.
Well,
so he's gonna be running micros
Yeah,
every day.
and he must like the open wheel stuff.
Well,
you know.
Well,
he's doing really well in the late model stuff, and he does good in the modified.
When I was at the Chili Bowl, I tell you one thing: he's not just show up and drive. When they were working on that car, he was studying the car. He don't know nothing about him, but he was studying that son of a bitch. And he went. I don't know if I should even say this, but he went over and talked to Chad Boat, a whole nother team.
Yeah.
And then he come back, and then they were a little bit quick. I don't want to put him in a bad spot with his car owner and everything, but
you know, if you feel like you can be quicker, you can go to somebody with experience.
Yeah. So you know, I'm an RTJ guy. I've always been a fan of him in the modified stuff, and you know, he's just a kid that can wheel a race car, and you know, I don't care about his political stuff. I don't care about his sexual preference. I don't care about his home life. I don't care about none of that.
When he straps in, he's good.
Exactly. So
and SSI, I don't know what happened there. Don't care. You can crucify me if you want to. They fucked up.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it on the way here. I said, and the bad thing is, I like Don and Hudson. I really
do too.
I do.
I respect them.
But I told Flash on the way here. I said, I think that might have been a little bit of bad karma.
Yeah.
I think Hudson might be running back because I think that was a little bit of a, hey, let's get on out of here type thing. So I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
One day I'm going to get Don on here and ask him. Point blank ask him. I mean, what happened?
He'll tell you.
Yeah, I know. He's the type of guy that will tell you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I wish the best for Hudson because Hudson seems like a really good kid in a bad situation.
Yeah.
And you know, if we was all in that shoes at 22 years old and you was trying to flip the bill yourself, you would do the exact same thing. So I mean, you can't fault him. But I hate that. I hate that it went down the way it did. And the thing that I don't know what happened at Rocket, but if what went down, what everybody says, and Hudson stood up to the main power and said, "Screw you, I'm not cool with that." Hats off to you too on that, Hudson.
Yeah.
That's just the way I feel about that.
Yeah. And that's his daddy in him right there.
You know,
his dad would do the same. Listen, this ain't working. I'm not doing that, and I'm not going to.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So if that's how it went down, hats off. Because I won't talk shit about you unless it's deserved. But on the same token, if you stood up to probably the best car owner in the sport, for something you didn't believe that was right. I'm a Hudson O'Neal fan for that.
Yeah, and he's good, but he never had to provide for himself every Saturday night and all through the week racing IMCA modifieds out wherever Ricky Thornton was at.
Right.
He didn't have to learn what a car is going to do or what this does to a car.
Exactly.
But he can still wheel one.
Yeah. He can drive. He can drive shit.
He can drive them. I'm jealous. Hell, I'd love being there at 22 or 23, however old he is. I'd love been doing that.
Well, the thing about Hudson is, if the car's good,
he's good.
He's good.
He's good.
But if the car's not good, you're not going to get much out of it. And there's a lot of guys like that.
Well,
Brandon Overton's the same way.
Yeah.
I like Overton, but if the car's good, you ain't beat him.
No.
If it's not good, he's not going to make up for it.
No.
It just is what it is.
And you can only do so much, and these things are so damn expensive. You go out there and try to make up for it, you're going to cost yourself a rear clip and a bunch of body work and a lot of work for the crew that you don't need it. You didn't need to go. You were running fifth. You didn't need to sail that thing off in there.
It's funny he's saying this.
Yeah.
It's called old age.
It's funny Joey Kramer saying, "Don't sell that some bitch off." The last time I seen him race, he sold that some bitch off in there.
He must have watched some old VCR tapes of him racing sometime or another.
Got wound up, all jacked up on Mountain Dew or something. But I still will. If I've got a car that's capable and I'm comfortable, I'll drive that some bitch in there.
Yeah.
But if I'm not, I've come to the realization that you can only make up for so much anymore. And that's another thing, that these cars have come so far. You used to be able to make up for it back in my early days in the mods. You could make up for a bad setup, find a little bit better line, and you can come to the front. But anymore. I mean, you go to these big mod shows, and if you don't have an elite and you're not, in with Nick Hoffman, I mean, it's.
Well, I'm probably going to piss somebody off right now too, but here we go. That's kind of the way.
Hey, it's your show. You do whatever the hell you want.
Well, that's kind of what I've always thought about it. I think Nick Hoffman's great, but if I had an elite and I really need to know how to get my car around the racetrack, I'd be calling Tyler Nicely.
Yeah,
that's it. Because Nick's not running them enough anymore, and Tyler backed down enough. But I know one thing. I know Cole Followay's saying Tyler Nicely knows exactly what to do to this son of a bitch, and if Cole Followay says that, that's who I'd be calling.
Yeah. He was really good down in Florida.
Yes, he was. Well,
and he's been. He was really. I watched him over at Florence here the last year for the North South. I threw my nuts in my wash pocket going into turn 3 there.
Yeah.
And I got up in that fluffy shit and I couldn't get out of it. And I was like 5th on the end of the first lap, on the end of the back straightaway. And I was like, man, I'm going to sail this thing off in there. And I got her up a little too high. I got up in the fluff, couldn't get out, and hell, I was dead last. I ran about 3 laps and I just went in there and watched the show. He knows exactly where to put that car.
Yeah.
Same thing every lap. That car is so good, and he knows what to do with that car. I mean, you ain't gonna beat him.
Well, that's one thing I'm going to say about Cole Followay. We had him on the show. I'm a fan of Cole's. I like Cole. He's a good kid. He's got a great family.
Yeah.
But the kid races so much. Like he races go-karts every night. He races the modified. If they're not racing, he's working on the race car, talking about the race car, planning out his road trip. We had a race at Beckley, West Virginia.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night, $7,000 win mod race. He raced Spoon River, Illinois the night before, and they drove 9 hours overnight. They left the racetrack at, I think it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they come rolling in the racetrack at 10 the next morning and drove all night, to come across the country to race a 30-lap mod race.
Yeah. But he brought $7,000 home, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, no, you're in second that night.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're in second. But yeah.
Back in the day, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
But
But one thing about Cole Followay is, if the race pays good, he's not scared of competition, and he will go race. He does not give a shit.
Yeah.
But Pennsylvania, I'm going.
Yeah.
He's got great support. His family takes care of him. But the kid can wheel a race car, and he's not scared to do it.
Yeah.
So
and he's got the confidence in the car, and he knows, you know what? If I get this thing remotely close,
I'm good.
I'm probably going to win this thing if all the cards play out.
Yeah.
And I remember myself being younger, and I was kind of the same way. Confidence was a bunch. I didn't want to. I tried not to be like an arrogant asshole. But
some people said he was.
It's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
But everybody's entitled to an opinion. Yeah. I tried not to be. But you get a lot if you got a car that's good, you're comfortable. You got them beat before you show up in the gate.
Yeah.
And shit.
I've seen that a lot with Followay when he's come to run some of our races.
That's the one thing I always got when I was at the racetrack. Didn't matter what I was running. Even when I was running this crate car I got now, I know everybody there's going to beat me. The guys on the crew are like, well, so-and-so's here, so-and-so's here. I was always like, you know what? If I was beat before I got here, I wouldn't come.
I wouldn't show up. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, my theory always was, if so-and-so's that damn good, we'll see how good he is putting his right front back on, because I'll make it some bitch wide as hell.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if he can get by me.
Yeah. We'll see how good they are putting an A-frame on this son bitch. Yeah. Because he's going to have to go up there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I'd go up there.
Yeah.
And I, there's certain times I still will.
Yeah.
But, it's getting so expensive to fix these things. I'm kind of.
It's like back in the day, if he had a bad night in the heat race, so he's starting the back of the feature. We're always up in the stands. You got to keep an eye on Joey. He's starting in the back. It's going to be good tonight.
I ain't going to lie. I won a mini $5 on you. I was like, yeah, I'll take Kramer and we always bet $5 a feature.
He's starting
he's starting like 12th. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Do you see that top? There's a top up there. Yeah. Now, if there wasn't no top, I'm going to be honest. I never picked you at Brownstown.
Good call. Very good call.
I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I can tell when there ain't no top. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be his night tonight.
No, it's not my night anywhere over at Brownstown. I was close a couple times, but couldn't seal the deal.
Well,
I won a bunch of what you call races there?
Pure stock
races. I couldn't, get in the crate car.
Yeah, I sucked at Brownstown. I ain't gonna lie. I spun out leading one night, coming to the white flag with a straightaway lead. Just looped it coming off 4. Did nothing any different. My wife, she was like, "What the hell was you thinking?" I was like, "I don't know."
Well, it just happened.
I just looped it.
Yeah, that's one of the. Bloomington is the other track I think I went to in Indiana. I've not won at.
Yeah.
But Brownstown.
I'm shocked about Bloomington because that place.
I didn't go up there.
Yeah,
I only raced up there. I bet a handful of times.
Yeah, Bloomington is a Rocket Man style racetrack.
It is, but that's back in the day when we used to draw. So if you draw a 6 or you're starting third row. If you get 2 guys in front of you there, you're done.
Yeah, you're starting third row behind DeMolson now at Bloomington back in the day. You screwed. All those guys, it didn't matter.
Well, the other guys are going to be there.
Yeah. And even if there was a top, it didn't matter.
Everybody was there.
Everybody was there. Yeah. So you had to get your stuff good on the bottom. And,
we're not going to say that wasn't your expertise, but it just wasn't at the time.
Not my cup of tea. But Brownstown, there's just I've got a love-hate relationship with that place.
So what you're saying is you're going to win March 1st, Northern All-Star Race, Brownstown. You're going to take the victory because it owes you one.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Honestly, there are certain times that I'd like to go over there and try it again.
Yeah.
But I remember in 2014, first night on a modified over there, I left discouraged as hell like I do every time. I said, if I ever come back over here, I want to come back over here, kick me in the nuts. I didn't go over there for over 10 years. And I was like, I took the crate over there one night. I was like, nobody else is racing. Let's go take this crate over there. I got the shit tore out of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? There's a reason I ain't come over here.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't kick you in the nuts.
They should have just sledgehammered them things.
Yeah.
But I didn't go over there last year. I blew a motor up, and it took 2 months to get one from Eagle. So it's set most of the year. So I drove with modified.
He's got a Hitchcock engine.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a good crate engine. Well, technically, it's crate racing. It's supposed to be equal, but technically.
But it's funny that you can get a bad one and you can get a good one. There is a such thing.
Hendren don't go through 15 of them to get a good one. To get a good one.
Exactly
that's what they used to do.
Yeah. And then the valve springs, go through 5 sets to actually get one set.
That's right.
That's ridiculous. And I don't know that I got the good set. Yeah. You order the matched set of springs. In theory, they're matched, but they may be
matched to the bad ones though.
Exactly, and you don't know. Yeah. So that's the one thing on the crates I wish they would get away from them piece of junk valve springs and let us run a spec spring.
Yeah, everybody's got to run this one. This is what it is.
This is what you can run the GM one if you want to.
Yeah.
Or you can run this one.
Yeah.
And then you can run all year, not have to change them every 4 or 5 nights.
Well, here's the problem. Those motors, you can't hurt them. The only way you can't hurt them is, break a valve sling, drop a valve. You can tear shit up. That's the issue.
Blow 3 rods out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've done that too. That's what happened to mine. But it was an oiling issue, so it was its time.
Yeah.
So
like I said, we appreciate you coming on the show. We look forward to. I thought I was going to give you some shit at Brownstown this year, but I guess you might be coming up there watching with us.
I did go over there and watch a show last year, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Brownstown has gotten better, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I will admit.
It's got more banking now.
Yeah, I thought who was going to win that thing, and I think Gilpin ended up passing with Stricker.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Adam, he led that whole damn thing, and then a late race caution. Here come Gilpin.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about you're racing mods at Florence. You're going to have to deal with him again this year. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Is he getting in another car?
I heard he's out of the late model deal. And,
well, I knew that.
But I think they're going to run some family mod stuff. I think. Don't quote me on that, but
I didn't know if he bought his old car back or.
I don't know about all that. I just seen somebody said you're going to be at Florence, and there was a quite possibly. So
that's fine. That works for me.
That's another kid that drives the wheels off race cars.
Yeah. So. I like racing with Adam.
Yeah.
So
he's not going to take you out, but he'll drive the shit out of it.
Yeah.
He will drive the shit out of it.
I respect him too.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. He's not the hangover, even though people called him that, but he is Rocket Man. Yeah. Joey Kramer.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was this week's Deep Dives with Rocket Man Joey Kramer out of Hanover, Indiana. Flash, that was a fun trip up to Hanover, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was a good time.
Well, I say it was a fun trip up there. it was not a fun trip back because Flash and I, dumbasses, didn't stop and get nothing to eat. And apparently everything closes in Madison at like 7:15 p.m.
Yeah.
It was a little later than that, but we couldn't find jack shit to eat afterwards.
Of course, we did find.
We found Waffle House. Yeah, let's. Flash and I. Well, I had some dental work done, so I needed like scrambled eggs anyways.
Yeah.
I needed something I could swallow because I really wasn't in no chewing mode.
Yeah.
But Flash and I, you can almost guarantee if we go to Indianapolis, we're gonna eat Hangry Joe's.
Yeah, Hangry
And if we
Joe's.
go anywhere else, we're probably eating Waffle House.
Yeah.
Especially when we don't get nothing to eat on the way because we're idiots sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we made the trip up there and hung out with Joey Kramer for a little bit. And I said, Rocket Man, he's a guy that, for 32 years now, he's
Yeah.
been putting beat downs on. There's not many guys that can say they've been racing for 32 years and won the feature that exact same year.
Yeah.
And Rocket Man he's a guy that said this might be his last year. You never know, but I hope not.
No.
Hell, he's got to win a modified feature at Brownstown at least once.
Oh yeah.
Guy's won almost 400 A mains and hasn't won at Brownstown. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, me neither.
Yeah.
My ass kept screwing up too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, fun trip up there this week. We recorded the show a little bit earlier, so we didn't have what went on Friday and Saturday.
Right.
Because obviously, so we're heading to Vegas for my wife's birthday. That's what she wanted for her birthday, so that's what we're doing. We're all going to Vegas and partying down for Tanya's birthday. So if you see her next week, she might be hungover. She might be a little bit cranky because of the time change. But it will all be worth it.
Oh yeah.
She can tell everybody how good of a week she had in Vegas. So we're going to head out of town, and next week we will have an old racetrack segment. So everybody that's asking, and this one will be a fun one.
Yeah, it'll be another good one.
Yeah, this is going. We might be setting new trends type thing.
Yeah.
but this one is this one's going to be a fun one too. Let's just say it's the.
We're pretty good at setting new trends.
Yeah, we kind of do that sometimes.
Yeah.
This one here, we'll just I'll go ahead and name it. The saga continues. How about that?
Yeah.
But like I said, you have the Tulsa Bowl coming up this week. You have the Southern All-Star Super Late Models, and anybody that's wanting some wing 410 sprint car racing and you want to brave the elements, Lincoln Speedway in Pennsylvania are going to shovel the snow off the racetrack and get the posse rolling. So race season is here. A lot of people say you got Speedweeks and then you have race season, but in our eyes, race season starts January 1st at the Chili Bowl, and it keeps going.
Yeah, it doesn't really stop.
It doesn't really stop. So race season is here, and there's races in the area to check out. But I'm gonna get off here and get packed up for Vegas, and actually, I'm gonna edit all this shit and put it up, and then get packed up for Vegas.
Yeah.
So, but anything else this week, Flash?
I don't think so.
All right. Well. As we always say, support your local racetracks. There's racetracks in the area that's running within a 3-hour drive. So, support your local racetracks. If you can't get out, always watch Daytona 500, all that good stuff that we don't cover is on.
On this weekend. Yeah.
So you got plenty of stuff to pay attention to. But we really appreciate you. And we always forget this.
Yeah.
Like. Subscribe, comment, share,
tell somebody.
Yeah, repost, retweet. Hell, last week was Laporta. Yeah, last week's Tony Laporta. When he retweeted our post and commented on it, in a matter of 20 minutes, we had over 10,000 views of the tweet.
Yeah.
We didn't quite get 10,000 listens, but we had 10,000 views. So,
and if you guys see a Facebook request from me, I've been sending them out to everybody that's got a race car on their profile picture.
Yeah, if you got a race car on your profile picture,
I'm sending it to every single one of them. I don't care what part of the country you're in.
Yeah.
So.
and the positive thing is, if you accept it and you listen to the show, there's a chance we're going to talk about somebody in your area regardless.
Yeah.
But yes, please like, subscribe, shout out.
Yeah. Share.
Twitter, Instagram it, Snapchat it, all that. Whatever you young guys do, just let somebody else know about us. Because if you don't like us, somebody else may.
Yeah.
But until next time, we'll be trading sliders.